I don't know why I'm attracted to the hotbed issues. I just am. It's a curse. I just can't help myself. In California, Florida, and Arizona, they're voting about marriage this November. But Camera Guy and I, we live in California, so we're just going to narcissistically focus on our own state. First of all, in order to really understand what's going on, we have to jump back in time to the year 2000 and Proposition 22. This old ballot initiative basically defined marriage as between a man and a woman, and it passed by a 61% majority. Kind of a head-scratcher when you consider how liberal California's voting is. We're the People's Democratic Republic of California. That sounds kind of communist. And it kind of is. Anyway, back to the topic. The gay community was not happy about Prop 22, and so they started lobbying and litigating in court to get it changed. And on May 15, 2008, it happened. The Supreme Court, in a 4-3 ruling, decided Prop 22 was unconstitutional. That's right, 4 judges versus 4.6 million voters, and the judges won. That's because they're judges. Their decision claimed that society's feelings or perceptions about the issue had changed. Of course, California voters must have been confused back in 2000. Judges are really in touch with public opinion. Even more so than People magazine. No matter how you feel about gay marriage, you should be very scared at this point. It's a dangerous thing to be happy about this kind of cavalier legislation from the bench. It's tempting for some people to believe that the ends justifies the means, but that is just not true. It's only a matter of time before something you don't approve of takes the same backdoor approach, overturning laws and making changes that undermine the will of the people. Judges aren't supposed to be politically motivated, and Proposition 8 was already on the ballot. If those 4 judges were even remotely responsible, they should have waited until the election results came out, especially when they were basing their decision on public opinion, or their perception of public opinion. It's tempting to vote yes on 8 just to stick it to those judges, but that would be irresponsible. So here's what you ought to know. Prop 8 would add the words, "Only marriage between a man and a woman is valid and recognized in California." And unlike Proposition 22, it adds it to the California state constitution. That means that the California Supremes wouldn't be able to change it, unless they find a way to declare the California Constitution unconstitutional, which I'm pretty sure they can't. But that might not stop those 4 rebels from trying. It's just laws. Public opinion doesn't mean anything. Those in favor of Prop 8 claim that homosexual marriage will have a large-scale effect on heterosexual marriage and religious freedom. Those who oppose Prop 8 say that their civil rights are being stripped away and that it won't change the way children are taught in school, or your religious freedom, or anything else. And technically, they're correct. Correct, but not honest. You see, this is where I get really frustrated. The same backdoor approach is being used. You see, the same individuals and organizations that claim no on 8 doesn't mean homosexual lifestyle gets taught to kindergartners are currently lobbying to accomplish that very thing in this state and others. While voting no doesn't make this possible outright, it opens the door for activists to sue anyone who disagrees with them. It's happening now. People are already being sued for discrimination. A photographer was sued in Arizona for not photographing a gay wedding. A doctor in San Diego was sued for not performing artificial insemination for a lesbian couple. A church in New Jersey was sued for not allowing a gay marriage to be performed in one of their buildings. These were not hate crimes. The people being sued were denied service on grounds of religious reasons. And they're not the only ones. We'll post a link on our website to an NPR article that cites several other examples. Gay used to mean happy, but with all these lawsuits, nobody's happy. And if Prop 8 doesn't pass, you can be sure there'll be more to come. Hey, there might be more anyway. Suing people to get your way. Seems like the new gay motto. It just doesn't sound very tolerant to me. Oh well, we'll sue the people that think it isn't tolerant. Okay, religious freedom I get, but what about schools and education? Well, if you go to the website noonprop8.com, you'll see an article in the LA Times that claims, despite what proponents say, its defeat would not change what California schools teach. That's right, it wouldn't change it because there's already been a school-sponsored first-grade field trip to a teacher's lesbian wedding. And you thought your kids weren't getting a balanced education. Let me pause here and say that I'm not a homophobe, even though some of you have probably already called me one. In fact, I recently made friends with a gay man who violated my First Amendment rights by taking down my Yes on Prop 8 sign. His name's Robert, by the way. Hi, Robert. I replaced the sign and I wrote next to it, "Tolerance goes both ways. Please don't take away my right to freedom of speech and expression by removing this sign." When he saw what I wrote, he felt so bad he came to my house and apologized. We clearly see differently on this issue, and I can understand that the sign upset him, but we resolved it amiably and respected each other's rights. To my friends in the gay community, if you want lasting change, remember that bitter hostility and lashback legal action will not work. Using activist judges to unjustly usurp a right and then claim it's being taken away is not honest or democratic. There are religious institutions that will never change their standing on homosexual marriage, and if you're not tolerant of them, how can you possibly expect them to tolerate you back? You probably think I have no idea what it's like to be gay or persecuted. But you know what's funny? I have absolutely no idea what it's like to be gay. But people assume I'm gay all the time. I even got assaulted by a guy who thought I was gay.